Welcome to Godly Play on this Sunday. I'm so glad that you can be with me as we come together to listen and wonder about this story today. The first thing we do is we greet one another. God be with you.
And also with you.
And then we look over to see what the time is in the church year. And we see, by looking at the calendar, that we are very close, just a week away from changing to the color purple. But today is the last Sunday in the green and growing time. And so now it's time to get ready for hearing the story. And we get ready all by ourselves by getting quiet inside and taking just a moment to listen to our breathing in and out, in and out. And that helps settle us so we can hear what this story may have to say to us today. The people of God came into the promised land. And later, they made King David their king. And King David gathered together the people of the north and the people of the south, and he made them into one group. David and his army took the city of Jerusalem from the Jebusites. And David called it the City of David. And the people settled there. But something was missing. It was the Ark of the Covenant, that golden box. Inside were the 10 Commandments on stone tablets that Moses had given to the people from God. So David and his army went to get the ark. And they brought it into the city of Jerusalem through the great high gate. And as they carried it into Jerusalem, David danced before it. And then they put up the tent for God, and they placed it inside. But now that they had settled in one place, David wanted to build a house for God. They were no longer traveling through the desert, through the wilderness. But because David was a man of war, he could not build the holy place for God. It had to be a man of peace. And so it was his son Solomon who built the first house for God, or temple. And so the people came together to build the temple. Some of the people went north to the country of Lebanon to cut down the great cedar trees and to bring them home. The cedar wood was placed inside the temple. It would make it smell good. Others went to nearby quarries and cut out the stone. And slowly the temple was built out of wood and stone. The people were amazed. Inside, it was beautiful. It was filled with carvings made of olive wood and gold. And inside, it was divided into two great rooms, just like the tent for God. This room was where the people would gather to pray, to come close to God. And this inner room was the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant would be placed. The high priest could only go into the Holy of Holies on one day of the year, the holiest day, the Day of Atonement. They placed inside the temple the same things they had placed in the tent for God, ways to get ready to come close to the mystery of God. They placed the altar for incense. They would burn the incense on top, and it created that good-smelling cloud of smoke that would help them get ready. There was the table of shewbread, on which they placed 12 loaves of bread, one for each of the tribes of Israel. And across from the table of shewbread was the 7-branched lampstand, the menorah, with lamps burning. Outside, they placed the altar for sacrifices. It was much bigger than the one outside the tent for God, and also the great bronze bowl filled with water, where the priests would wash themselves before they led worship or prayers. When the priests carried in the Ark of the Covenant, the people there that day saw the temple fill with a cloud of dazzling light, and they knew that God was there. When the temple was finished, Solomon came. And Solomon blessed the house for God. And he read a prayer to the people gathered there that day. And these are the words of Solomon. O Lord God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven above or on earth beneath, keeping your promise with us and showing us steadfast love as we walk with you in love. But will God indeed dwell on the earth? Behold, heaven and the highest heaven cannot contain you. How much less this house which I have built? What Solomon was trying to tell the people was that this house they built for God could never contain God, that God was much bigger than anything anyone could imagine. Solomon was the king for 40 years, and some say he was one of the wisest people that ever lived. He was famous for things that he said. And his prayer was that the temple would be a place of prayer for the people, but that it would also be a place for justice. When Solomon died, he was buried in Jerusalem just as King David was. And his son became the next ruler of the people of God. So I wonder what you liked best about this story today of how they built the first temple in Jerusalem. I wonder what part of this story you thought was the most important part. I wonder if any part of it is especially about you right now. I wonder if there's any part of this story that you would leave out if you could, but we would still have the story we need. If you go to Jerusalem today, you will not see this temple. This temple, the first one, built by Solomon, was destroyed by the Babylonians. But many years later, they rebuilt the temple. But then the second temple was destroyed. Later they built a third temple, and that one was destroyed by the Romans. Today, when you go to Jerusalem, you can see pieces of that third temple. So I wonder, now that the temple has gone, and no one can find the Ark of the Covenant, I wonder where the 10 Commandments are kept today. So now it's time for you to choose your work today after hearing this story. I wonder if there's something that you want to build at home. You could pull things together to make your own kind of special space. Or you could write something or paint something. Only you know what you want to do as you think about the story of the building of the temple. And as you go, I would like to share this blessing song with you. I've shared it before, and if you want to sing along with me, you're welcome to do that. I see the love of God in you, the light of Christ comes shining through, and I am blessed to be with you, O holy child of God. I see the love of God in you, the light of Christ comes shining through, and I am blessed to be with you, O holy child of God. Go in peace.